Akal, Adab. Welcome back, everybody, to In the Air with me, Navedna Prabhu. I'm pretty sure after that 2 months of the IPL, you are super excited to see Team India back in action. What is going to be happening? Where is it going to be happening? Well, for starters, the first T20I between India versus South Africa will be happening in Delhi, and that's where all the action is going to be happening from 7 p.m. And of course, without wasting any more time, let me bring on my cricket guest in the show to talk to me about what they think is going to be happening in this exciting competition. Because the last time India and South Africa did clash earlier this year was in the test format, which didn't go their way. लेकिन T20 में क्या होगा वो देखने के लिए बाकी है. So Pratyay and Harish, I have both of them here with me. It seems like both of them are bleeding blue colors of blue, so that's fantastic. I'll come to you, Harish, first. What is the mood looking like? What are you expecting from this clash?
Hi, Navedna. Good to be back again. And of course, just like you said, that after 2 months, we are going to finally witness India play a match. So excited for that, of course. Although we are missing some big players, but it is a time for the young guns to show their worth, and I'm really looking forward to that. And there are a few players that I'm keeping my eye on as to how they would play in this match and make a place for themselves in the team.
Right, that's a very interesting aspect of seeing some fresh faces coming in to the team at this moment. Senior players, of course, being rested, but dusri taraf, that big concern. Aspect to not have the services of KL Rahul. We'll get talking about all of that, but I also have our other, regular guest that we have on In the Air. Great to see him back on the show, Gaurav Tripathi. I'll come to you, Gaurav, but quickly before that, let's say coming to you. What are you expecting, considering the fact that Harish has spoken about a little change in Team India's side this time around? What are we expecting in this competition, even from South Africa and in the T20 format?
I think it's going to be a interesting series, because literally nothing is at stake. Because if we talk about as far as World Cup point of view, T20 World Cup point of view, from South Africa they have a full strength squad. I think the playing 11 which they are going to name today, it's somewhat more or less is going to be same in the T20 World Cup. But on the other hand, as far as Indians are concerned, it's going to be entirely different. Top three, there is no Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli, even KL Rahul, even Surya Kumar Yadav, if you reckon. In the bowling department, we are not having Jasprit Bumrah, Mohammad Shami. So these young guns are going to go head to head against the likes of Hendrik Nokia, Kagiso Rabada, Aiden Markram, Quinton Peacock. If you talk about the South African side, there are many big names, and India are on the back of a 12-match winning streak in T20I. If they are going to win this particular match, they are going to create a world record. But that's going to be a very difficult task, even if they are playing on their home ground, because this is a literal India B side going against a full strength South African team, whose players have done well in the IPL in the recently concluded tournament. So I think it's going to be a very interesting series.
Okay, the cricket fan in him is expecting the young guns to do well, but the statistician in him had to give certain numbers to tell us, like, listen, this is what you have to look forward to. But Pratyay, coming to you, in terms of the fact that, even a player like Quinton Peacock has had a fantastic season, coming from, fantastic season of IPL 2022, knows the Indian conditions well, which is a key player that you think India will definitely have to look forward to from the South African side.
I think they have actually, as Gaurav pointed out, they have a full strength squad. If you're looking at Indians, they are missing out on quite a few players. So I think that at this moment, despite India playing at the home conditions, you cannot rule entirely out South Africa, because usually that is the case, that whenever any side is visiting India, you generally do not call the other side as favorites. But I think that at the moment, it looks like more of a 50-50 battle, because there are quite a few players, specifically, I mean, after given the fact that now India has also lost Kuldeep Yadav as well as KL Rahul. So I think they have further toned down, because if you're looking at the missing names, there's no Virat Kohli, there's no Rohit Sharma, there's no Bumrah, there's no Mohammad Shami. So there was plenty which was already missing, and now you have two key players who are also not a part of it. And if you look at the South Africans, I mean, familiar faces, whether you look at the batting lineup, of course, they are also powered by the comeback of Hendrik Nokia, coming back after a long time. I mean, he has been out of action ever since the last T20 World Cup. Few games in the IPL, initial part of IPL as well, he missed. And we know what kind of a combination. And I mean, if you talk about the potency of this duo, Kagiso Rabada and Hendrik Nokia, we know what kind of combination they bring onto the table. Then you are looking at the world number one spinner that they have in their side. There's Tabraiz Shamsi. Of course, Bako Jansen, another very exciting talent which we have seen. I mean, right from the South Africa, when India went to South Africa, performed decently well in that series, had a decent bit of an IPL, and now he's coming. So he's rising up the ranks again. So I think that if you look at, I mean, if you actually were to pinpoint, there are, of course, I mean, there are only two, three players which South Africa has in their setup when they last toured India. You're talking
Yeah.
about David Miller, Quinton de Kock. But I think that apart from them as well, I mean, these couple of players, and of course, Kagiso Rabada, apart from these as well, the players that they have, whether you look at Klassen or Markram, all of them had runs. All of them had scored runs. Markram had a decent IPL. So I think that at the moment, you cannot say that India are favorites, but you will still give them that home advantage. But I think that if these two, three players, the key ones, I mean, the more experienced one at the side, if India can manage to keep them quiet in the series, then you might as well see them make a record. I mean, that I'm rooting for them, of course. 13 wins on the trot, that's quite a feat, and I think that at least that India should be able to do.
Okay, that is of course Pratyesh's takeaway from what he's expecting in today's clash. आप सबको क्या लगता है? Let me know in the comment section. Now, a person who was supporting Lucknow side in the IPL was Harish because he's a special protected of that city. But the reason why I'm talking about that is, of course, KL Rahul was leading Lucknow, did a quite good job. But let's talk a little bit about that. He also tweeted if he could have that tweet on our screen. I'll come to you, Harish, about that. Right ahead before this series, he's gutted not to be leading the side, but Rishabh Pant, of course, taking over. What is your take on this? Do you see this as a setback, or do you see this as an opportunity for Pant to really show his captaincy skills? We've seen that a little bit in the IPL, but now for Team India's side.
Yeah, I think it is a big setback for KL Rahul because there were questions about his captaincy before, and he proved them wrong, I can say, to an extent in this IPL. With players coming out and saying how he helped them, to be able to perform, to get the best out of them. So it was a chance for him to take that step further and put that kind of leadership into the Indian team as well. So he might be, be dwelling on that point because he was in a good form as far as captaincy as it was going. So, but it is a big step for Rishabh Pant as well, who has to prove himself as well because his captaincy was questioned a lot in the IPL. So it's time for him to finally redeem himself in a way. And there are a lot of big players missing. So there's a lot of pressure and a kind of responsibility on a lot of people who have not been and had not had the chance to, to shine like this before because earlier either Virat Kohli or KL Rahul or Rohit Sharma was there to take the pressure off them. But right now they have to step up. So I think for Rishabh Pant, it is a good time because even if you question his captaincy, the management has always backed him in a way. If you take, for example, Delhi, Ponting has backed him, Indian team has backed him. So there must be something in him that is there to explode, but has not, not people have seen that. So I think it is a good time for him to show that.
All right, so they say that after time aega looks like Pant's time will now actually be decided through the series in a way, but of course an opportunity has been presented to him. We'll have to wait and watch how that transpires. I'll come to you, Gaurav, in terms of the head-to-head between both these teams. If you can take a quick look at that in the T20I format between India and South Africa. Of course, with the 15 matches that they've played, India just has a slight upper hand, having won 9 of those, and South Africa 6. How do you look at this? Because Temba also made that particular statement saying that looking at the India side right now, in terms of having that young pace battery lineup, they have looked to change their kind of preparation going into the series. So what's your take? And also having looked at that head-to-head, what's your takeaway?
See, if you talk about the head-to-head, I think that's not going to matter much because the people, I mean, from the particularly in the Indian squad, which they have won against South Africa, they are not playing. We have the likes of Imran Malik, Arshdeep Singh, even Ishan Kishan, even Rutraj Gaikwad. All these guys are new. So I think I expecting them to beat a team like South Africa, who's playing its full strength squad. I think it will be not fair on them. I think it's a great opportunity for these guys because for me, if India is going to win the series, it's going to be a surprise because we talk about the Rishabh Pant, his leadership is going to be tested. It's a great opportunity for him. And moreover, even if this guy score runs, I mean, someone like Ishan Kishan, he scores 250 in 5 matches, or someone like Rutraj Gaikwad, even Shreyas Iyer. All these guys are not a guaranteed starting 11 in the T20 World Cup, which is going to take place later this year. But definitely, they have a great chance to put the pressure on the big names from the likes of Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma, because we have seen that they have been struggling for runs. So someone like Ishan Kishan, if he scores someone like 250 or 300 runs against the likes of Nokia, Rabada, Shamsi, and even Keshav Maharaj, Marco Jansen for that matter, So I think it's a great opportunity. Head to head, obviously India are ahead. Six matches they are ahead, but it's a five match series. Anything can happen. I wouldn't be surprised if South Africa clinch it by 4-0, even 5-0 is possible. But definitely, I think India have the home advantage, and they should not take any pressure because it's a great opportunity for all the young players, and they have nothing to prove, literally.
That's right. I mean, it's a great platform as well for all these youngsters. We did see that last year around this time in July when that Sri Lanka versus India tour happened as well, where they didn't have that second string team, and we saw so many of them do well. But coming back to this particular match, Pratyay, I'll come to you. If you were to take a quick look at the probable 11 of what we think on Crick Tracker, let's take Pratyay's opinion on that. Looking at this, both sides, is this what you would go with? Or do you have another combination that Team India or South Africa should go with?
See, I think if you're talking about this, when Rahul Dravid was suggesting that he is not going to reveal too many details in the press conference, but now the injuries to KL Rahul has kind of certainly put one thing on the front that Ruturaj Gaikwad is going to open with Ishan Kishan. But like I said, I mean, with the World Cup on horizon, I think that, and we know that what kind of competition this side has, because there are too many people who are fighting for a couple of spots in the team. I think this is a great opportunity for all of them because whether you talk about Ruturaj Gaikwad or even Ishan Kishan for that matter, there's no KL Rahul in the side, there's no Rohit Sharma either. So this is definitely going to be a series where we're going to get all the 5 matches. So as far as opportunities are concerned, there's not going to be a case where they will be worried about not getting all the matches. So that is one point which is in their favor, of course. Apart from that, I think that if you talk about, I mean, how they fared in the IPL, we know that Ishan Kishan did not have the best of IPLs. Even for that matter, other players, if you're talking about even Ruturaj Gaikwad, a couple of knocks here and there, but he was not at his consistent best as we saw him doing in the previous year. So I think that these two players would be eyeing for that World Cup spot, and you cannot forget that the kind of persistence that the selectors have shown in Ishan Kishan and even Venkatesh Iyer for that matter, because we've seen that a couple of players were not given the longer run. You talk of Sanju Samson for that matter. So I think that the fact that these players have been shown belief in, I think it's important for them to repay that faith. And as we say, someone's loss is someone's gain. I think this can actually be a blessing in one sense or the other, because you know that you're going to get these 5 matches. These are home conditions, and if you can actually make your back talk in these situations, you probably might as well put a step forward in that direction, because there's already pressure. I mean, if you look, there are so many new talents coming up. There are a couple of players who are already in line for their debut. Not expecting them today, but I think that over the course of the series, you will definitely see Umran Malik and Arshdeep Singh at least get one game or two. So the thing is that there are around a pool of 25 to 30 players who are fighting for 11 spots in the World Cup team. If you look at South Africa, that is not their concern, because right now, what kind of balance setup they have, I don't think there would be too many changes. There could be a possibility that the squad that they have selected right now, maybe a couple of players in and out, and of course, keeping aside the injury concerns, I feel that probably this is how their World Cup setup is going to look like, more or less. But if you talk about India, there are still too many questions to be answered. And I think this series is a great opportunity for all of these players to kind of cement that spot, given the competition that we have in the side.
All right, and talking about this competition, the toss update being is that South Africa have won the toss and chosen to field first. I'll come to Harish Mehta, a captain in himself. Harish, you've also been playing cricket tournaments recently, so you know how the toss will make or break particular match. So, आपका क्या कहना है इसके बारे में? Good move by South Africa to go into field first.
If you had asked that question yesterday, I would have been more
You would have said
confident.
something.
But yesterday we lost the match. So
Right.
yeah, toss makes a big factor in cricket, of course, and the pitch conditions also help. But initially, I would just like to say what Pratyay said there, that once loss is someone can be gained, and I feel that exactly in a way, because this team is full of excitement, especially because of IPL. We saw a lot of many youngsters, who perform so well and are just on the breakthrough of proving themselves on the big stage as well. So we want to see them. We know what the others have done. We want to see them as well. So yeah, for the toss, I think South Africa, they chose to field, but we have players who can chase. But this will be a learning curve for them as well, because chasing can be difficult. So from the first get go, they have a difficult task ahead of themselves. So if they do the job today, it will give a massive confidence to them and to India as well, because for the whole series, because they have started on a wrong foot in terms of toss.
Okay, so that of course, talking about the toss aspect, that the other exciting part of this match is to finally see who's going to make it to that playing 11. In terms of what Prathir did say, we're not going to be seeing Umran Malik yet, but who we will be seeing is a person who definitely wanted that opportunity to come back into Team India now after his IPL performance. Dinesh Karthik has made it. Gaurav, I'll come to you. A quick, take on the playing 11. Ishan Kishan, Ruturaj Gaikwad, Shreyas Iyer, Rishabh Pant, Hardik Pandya, Dinesh Karthik, Akshar Patel, Harshal Patel, Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, Yuzvendra Chahal, Avesh Khan. Any surprises, or was this the combination which is ideal?
It was more or the less. I think I was expecting this kind of level because if you're talking about this entire squad, which is the playing combination is not like that. They have been fielding this type of playing 11 in the previous encounters. So I think it was totally a random call that it was upon the preference of the captain of the team management that whom they are going to go with. Dinesh Karthik, I think his selection was on the card because we need a finisher for the T20 World Cup. If we talk about the top order batsmen, we have plenty of choices. Shreyas Iyer is here, who is probably not going to play the T20 World Cup. We have Surya Kumar Yadav, Virat Kohli is there, Rohit Sharma is there, KL Rahul is obviously there. We have Ishan Kishan and Ruturaj Gaikwad in there. But if you talk about the finishers role, I think there are not many because if you talk about Hardik Pandya's IPL, he has scored near 500 runs, but those 500 runs were scored at a strike rate of just above 130, which is not really phenomenal if you talk about the a batter who is going to bat at 16 to 20 overs. So definitely, it's a great chance for him. He has defied the odds because many had written him off that he was doing commentary, and many thought that his career was over after that 2019 World Cup. But the sort of comeback he has done is phenomenal. He made his debut in 2004. I mean, back then I didn't know what cricket exists. So, and he is now making his comeback. So this shows that what kind of determination that guy has. So definitely a great opportunity for him, and he'll be ready to make it count. As far as bowling department is concerned, I think Umran Malik, okay, as Pratik said that he's probably going to get his chance over the course of the series. If not in the first game, I think definitely Umran and Arshdeep Singh as well. They're going to get chances. So definitely, I think it's a pretty sorted, a balanced playing 11. But it all will matter that how these guys perform as a unit on the field.
That's right. And I think Hari's takeaway was also that they might be able to chase, but if they don't, then it could be a learning curve. That's probably the best
Yeah.
takeaway from this match. But let's take a quick look at South Africa's playing 11. It's Quinton de Kock, Themba Bavuma, Reza Hendricks, David Miller. Tristan Stubbs is actually making his debut today. The fact that Aiden Markham has tested positive for COVID-19, unfortunately. We'll also have Wayne Farrell, Dwayne Pretorius, Keshav Maharaj, Tabriz Shamsi, Kavi Suryavanna, and Amrik Nokia. Pretty much what we had discussed earlier as well. But one aspect that we haven't discussed is the approaching milestones. So let's dive into that and find out what are the approaching milestones in this particular game and get all our cricket guests to talk about this. Prati, I'll come to you. Out of all these that you see right now, you think all are possible?
Yes, all of them look doable, but I think what I'm more interested about, if you're talking about the first name here, Rishabh Pant, I
Yeah.
think see the way he has risen up in the ranks in the last couple of years, from someone who would hear the chants of Dhoni when he would be making mistakes behind the stumps, to someone who has gone on to score centuries in Test cricket, and now he is leading Delhi Capitals at the IPL. Took them to the final. I mean, in one edition, this time could not proceed. But I think this is a great opportunity for him as well to kind of audition for the captaincy role. Because, see, I mean, apart from these milestones, this could actually well become one of those series when he would look back at it, and this would be one of those series which would be a career milestone for him because he was not in the scheme of things as far as captaincy at the international level is concerned. But yes, he was being seen as an option because he was given the vice captaincy. Now, suddenly, he gets a chance to lead. And what will also test his caliber and his approach here would be that he was not knowing that he has to lead. I mean, just a day before when you get something like that, you are not going to get your captain. Either, I mean, these kind of situations can either make you or break you. And by what we know of Pant, I think that this is an opportunity that he's going to make himself because international captaincy, of course, the IPL, no denial that it's one of the best tournaments, one of the most difficult ones. But when you're talking about international captaincy, it's an entirely different ball game. And I think that this opportunity that he has at his hand, because we all know that in the future, we are seeing someone of his, as far as his contention is concerned, we are seeing towards him as captain. So I think that this opportunity, it's for him to express himself in the correct ways. He has got a great team, despite all the names missing. I still feel that there is great potential in this team. And the most exciting part, I mean, that now the series presents is how Rishabh Pant is going to lead. So of course, I mean, those three sixes. That's one way to look at the milestones. But I think that this series, in that perspective, is going to be a bigger milestone for him when we will look back at it in the future. So we need to see whether he.
Let's say, can I ask one thing? Is this series as a captain for Pant? You know, if he does well in this tournament, of course, he's going to get chances. But if he feels like not saying that, uh, do you think to get a chance?
Your voice is cracking, Harish. I'm not able to hear you. Can you please repeat?
Uh, make or break series captain as a captain?
I'm still not able to get you.
Okay, is this a make or break opportunity for Rishabh Pant as a captain? Is his question, Pratik? Gaurav,
Yes,
if
that's exactly what I'm trying to say. That, see, because he has not led at the international level, as I said, that he has led at the Delhi Capitals, and there he has shown that what kind of potential he has. But the fact that you were not knowing and you have to lead all of a sudden, because as a captain you have to do a lot of planning. You kind of make your game plans. Even in the yesterday's press conference, what he said was that there are going to be changes in the way India plays their game. Because see, ultimately, unlike the ODI format, or for that matter even Test matches, bilateral series are not having that much context right now, because there's nothing apart from a couple of tournaments that you're looking forward to prepare yourself for. And that is why that these bilateral series are only important in the context of building your team, or probably finding answers to the questions, or maybe kind of setting up your combination for a tournament. So I think that this series, the eyes will of course be on Rishabh Pant. They were anyways going to be, but now that he has got a chance to lead, that gives him a better chance, a great opportunity, because you never know. I mean, God forbid if such an injury comes up all of a sudden to, say, Rohit Sharma or anyone from your leadership unit at the World Cup. So you can actually now say that at least someone has that experience. So I think that this could well turn out to be a blessing in disguise. And in terms of how he prepared, I think when these kind of chances come impromptu, you were not planning, because a day before, I mean, at this point in time, until yesterday, he was not knowing that he is going to lead. Around 6 p.m., the BCCI had confirmed yesterday that KL Rahul is out of the series. So I think just getting that chance 1.5 days back could well be a way that he goes on to express himself, because he has not got too much time to plan. So that is actually going to be an interesting part, that how he actually ends up leading the team.
all right. So, Harish, do you have anything else to ask, or do
Yeah,
you think?
no, because we have a lot of people who are captain done well. I meant to say that it doesn't a lot of other candidates like so if he is it's a team that if it doesn't this might not come soon. That's what.
Okay, so I think there is a little bit of a technical glitch. I'm just going to ask, our producer to cross-check that so we can do justice by answering, his question. But I'll come to you, Gaurav. The milestone that you spoke about earlier about Team India in terms of the T20I format, what they could be looking at potentially. If you could take a look at that particular milestone on our screen, then I'll, come to Gaurav to talk to us about how amazing this feat could be if Team India manages to do so. In terms of them winning, this would be the 13th or 14th match. Gaurav, if you could
13,
talk to us.
13. It will be 13. I think it's going to be a great milestone because prior to these 12 wins, I think India suffered two heartbreaking defeats. That was against Pakistan and New Zealand in the 2021 T20 World Cup, and probably not
Mahendra's
probably,
about that
obviously.
time, Gaurav.
Yeah, yeah. So only those two defeats, I think, pushed India out of the semi-final spot, and after that they played 12 matches. Three were against Sri Lanka, the three were against West Indies, three against New Zealand, the runners-up of T20 2021 T20 World Cup, and I think three were against the associate teams, the likes of Namibia and Afghanistan, and there was one more team, Scotland it was. So definitely, I think it's a great opportunity for India to set a world record, and especially with this sort of team. Had there been the likes of Rohit Sharma, KL Rahul, Virat Kohli in the side, it would have been a neck-to-neck contest even at the start of the match. Even if you look at the if would have look at the on paper strength, there wouldn't have been a lot of difference. But if you talk about this Indian side, as Priti mentioned, I think a new captain 6 months before, I think no one would have thought that Rishabh Pant is going to lead India this soon at international level. So definitely, it's a great opportunity for him, and it's going to test his character. Because I remember even in IPL, Shreyas Iyer got injured, and he got the Delhi Capitals captaincy 10 or 15 days prior to the IPL 2021. Similar has happened, but the duration is much less. It's not even in days; it's in hours. So definitely, it's going to test his that how he's going to put himself in the game. Because I remember in IPL, there was a moment when he lost calm in one game, and he called Rahman Pal and Kuldeep Yadav back. So obviously, I think it's very quick. Things are happening very quick for him. I think that incident is pretty much 1 week, 1 month old, and now he is leading India. So definitely, I think a lot of responsibilities will be on his shoulder, because of fact he's a wicketkeeper batsman. Since the time he has gone come in the international arena, comparisons have been drawn between him and Dhoni, and now he is the captain himself. So all three aspects he's doing. He's the finisher, he's the captain, he's the keeper. Eyes will be on him, and it will test his character definitely.
All right, and before I come to Harish, let's quickly take a look at the exciting player battles that are in store for us, and then we'll take Harish's question before wrapping up. We have Quinton de Kock versus Chahal, jahan pe Chahal has sent him back to the pavilion on 6 occasions, and Quinton has managed only 44 runs. What is another player battle that we can look forward to if we can take a quick look? Hardik Pandya versus Harish Rabada. Hardik has managed to score 50 runs, 2 dismissals. Okay, these are the two player battles that we have. Let me know in the comment section which one are you looking forward to. I think I know the answer, but definitely tell me which one you're looking forward to personally. Harish, before we wrap up, let me come to you quickly. What was that question that you wanted to ask Satya?
Sorry. I was asking that question because a lot of candidates are there in the Indian team who have been captaining for their respective IPL sides. So if, like, God forbid, Rishabh Pant doesn't do well in this series, there are a lot of other candidates who might be given a chance in Rishabh Pant to get him another chance at captaincy. It might be a long shot. So is there an added pressure on Rishabh Pant because of that? Is he thinking about that?
See, if you ask me, I don't think that he's one of those players who actually takes a lot of pressure. I mean, whether you talk about the way he carries himself or the way he bats, he is not someone who is going to take the pressure. But I think that when these kind of opportunities come for you at the international level, as I said, that if you're talking about IPL, no matter how difficult that tournament is, but when you are leading at the international stage, when you're leading the country instead of a franchise, it kinds of change, the psychological impact that you have, it kind of changes. And I think in that sense, it is going to be interesting, because we know that he was being seen. The reason he was elevated as the vice captain was because we see a future leader in him. He's young, he's dynamic, he's someone who's able to play multiple roles in the team. So of course, that sooner or later you will see him leading the team in the future. But getting that chance out of nowhere suddenly, when you were probably not prepared for it, that is what is going to put him in that situation, and that is what is going to give us an answer with how well he is able to perceive that challenge, how well he is able to take that challenge. Because I think even right now, there was a school of thought which could have suggested that maybe how about giving Hardik Pandya the captaincy, because none of us could have imagined what happened with Gujarat Titans. I don't think any one of us could have even thought that they would end up making it to the playoffs, let alone winning the tournament in their maiden season. But that is what the thing is, that it was a make or break opportunity. Had Mumbai Indians not released Hardik Pandya, he could have just been a Mumbai Indians all-rounder. That is not a small post to hold, but look at what that release of from the Mumbai Indians led Hardik Pandya to happen. So it was destined to happen. He ended up being a captain, and I think none of us could have imagined at the start of the tournament that Gujarat Titans would be the eventual champions. So that was a make or break opportunity for him. He ended up making it. This is one of those chances for Rishabh Pant. He has proven himself. In the last couple of years, if you talk about the kind of rise he has shown, it has been meteoric. Right from the Test format, becoming an all-format player, then keeping in all the three formats, we know that it's a big back-breaking job. Now this is a great chance for him to audition for the captaincy role. And like I said, that whatever T20 cricket, we are roughly 120, 140 days away from the World Cup. So I think whatever cricket that in this particular format India is going to play, each and every match is a chance for them to kind of solidify their positions, find the answers, find the combinations, specifically keeping in mind that what happened in 2021. We know that it's in Australia, the challenge is going to be difficult. So I think this is a great opportunity for Rishabh Pant to step up, to put a hand up, and say that, okay, if the team needs a future leader, I'm definitely here to put my hand up.
All right, and talking about captaincy and Pant, it's quite interesting because last year during the Test series we were talking about Pant, and Pratyay had a lot to say about him. So it has become quite a journey for both of them to look at that in this. I'm pretty sure Gaurav knows what I'm talking about. Talking about captaincy and of course the pressure of captaincy or the opportunity. This is what Rishabh Pant had to say at the toss. He said it is one of the proudest moments in my cricketing career so far because the Delhi boy getting that captaincy honor at Delhi is a huge thing for me. Thanks to everyone for giving me this opportunity. Well, on a side note, these opportunities, whether it's IPL captaincy or Indian captaincy, has come courtesy to Shreyas Iyer and KL Rahul being injured, but ultimately it's the opportunity which he's going to be capitalizing on. Before we wrap up, one quick look at what we have on social tracker, and then of course we will be getting into the game. KL Rahul, of course, did see this earlier. Do we have anything else on social tracker that we could quickly discuss as to what everybody's talking about on social media? KL Rahul has of course wished Rishabh Pant here as well. Okay, so I think the reply to that was Rishabh Pant said, "Have a speedy recovery, bro. See you soon." Okay, of course, the game time is just around the corner. So before we wrap up, I just want you guys to tell me Team India or Team South Africa. Gaurav, I'll come to you first. Team India, Team South Africa. Who's gonna win?
Just go South Africa. Have won the toss. It's a small ground. Dew is going to come into play later half in the game. I think it's going to be South Africa.
Okay, one South Africa, 0 India. Harish, how about you?
I will just say South Africa because if I say I have been all of my predictions have gone otherwise, so I will just say South Africa over India again.
Okay. So reverse psychology. And what about you, Pratyay? Before we wrap up, who are you rooting for?
See, by that logic, I should also be saying South Africa because I'm expecting previous shoes. None of my predictions have turned out right. Not too many in the IPL, but I still think that India is going to lead. India is going to take a 1-0 lead.
Hey, listen, if reverse psychology were to really work, don't you think RCB fans would have tried it by now? I mean, they would probably be most disappointed that Gujarat Titans played the first ever IPL and they won and went. So I'm pretty sure on that note, we can make all the predictions possible, but ultimately it boils down to which team brings their best on the field. And having said that, I want to thank all my cricket guests for joining me in the studios. I'm Nivedna Prabhu signing off. We will see you in the post-match analysis of this brilliant first T20I between both these sides. So don't forget to join us. See you soon.